Hey everyone, welcome to a new episode of Mount Deurklink. In the last episode I made the buildings in this town and I built this, the rails of this RMC coaster. And what I want to do in this episode is give it the wooden supports under it. And when that is done, I also want to give it a station. And I want to extend some of these paths outward out of the village here, and I want to do some landscaping under the chairlift just so I can more easily expand in the next episodes. Now the first thing I'm going to do is apply a new palette, because I don't really like this blue, and let's see if I have the palette here actually. Here it is, the snow palette too. I believe it was the palette from Mount Haystack. It's a park that was made for a contest on NE Designs. So let's apply the palette. Alright, I think this color of snow is much more pleasant for the eyes. I might change the palette again later, maybe tweak it a bit, but for now this is what I will go with. I think this this looks a lot nicer. Anyway, I will just get started now on the wooden supports, and let's see if we then still have time to do other stuff in the park. Okay, now here's something that I want to change. This stall here, this upside down part, it looks horrible. So I'm going to quickly try and modify this. So let's remove this part over here. Alright, let's I'm going to change it into a flying coaster now. Let's see if this works. Okay, the game clearly didn't like that, so I've lost a little bit of progress, but I'll fiddle around with it a little bit more to get something that I like. Alright, this only seems to work if we turn this coaster into a flying coaster. It does make the stats very high, but I can live with that. So right now here we have an upside down part. Now the trains don't really like it, but I will be covering this with supports anyway. So there will be a stall here, but it will just not be visible very much. But I do like this much more than the original thing. So really, how did I do that? I simply just changed the track to a flying coaster, then built this part, and I kept it as a flying coaster because when you turn it back into a twister coaster, it will not recognize this as being part of the track and the coaster will crash here. So that's probably something you'll want to avoid. Now there's something else I will have to do, because the flying coaster doesn't have these track pieces that are used here. so these steep to horizontal transitions and the vertical part. So I will simply build those again in the reverse direction with some track texture. Okay, I'm now trying to fix these stairs here, but there's always stuff in the way, so it's kind of difficult to build. So I'm just going to try and use the cutaway view to make it clear for myself where I'm building. If you don't know about this tool yet, I recently made a tutorial on it. I think it's very powerful if you know how it works, especially in situations like these. Alright, I like how these paths now travel right under this lift hill arch of the RMC, and they also travel right over the coaster as it swoops down here. Now, I'm not going to add footers for this RMC, well, at least not yet. I will only do this when I finalize the landscape. And also, I'll probably put trees and stuff around it so most of the footers wouldn't be visible anyway. For the rolls and the overbanked turns, I will now just add some extra supports, just like real RMCs have. Okay, as you can see, for this inversion, I'm just adding some of these wooden post fences above it, and I'm just putting the ones on the side on an angle, and I'm supporting them with some extra steel lattice works and some poles on the side. I think this works quite well for this kind of support. Alright, I think that's most of the supports done for this coaster. What I will do now is I will try to make it look nice right here where it passes over these buildings. Maybe I'll make some arches here. Not really sure how I'm going to approach this yet. But yeah, and also I need to do some landscaping under here, and the coaster of course also still needs a station. Alright, now working on the station. I named the coaster Frostbite. That's also why I'm going to leave the station open, so it becomes nice and cold here, and that way the coaster will live up to its name. Alright, just going to add a roof now and then just finish the building under and around it. Alright, it's proving to be a very popular ride. The queue is already almost completely filled up. So yeah, that's really nice. It's nice to see it go around filled with guests. Even though the stats are now a little bit on the high side. But I changed it to a flying coaster. But I think that was definitely worth it for getting this stall here right. Okay, I will just keep working now on making these supports look nice here above these buildings. Maybe I'll finish these buildings here a bit more, and yeah, I will just keep doing that until the end of this episode. Okay, I will leave it like this for this episode. I see some glitching here that I will still fix. So yeah, if you see some glitching behind these river rapids, it can usually be fixed pretty easily by replacing the walls behind it with base blocks. So for example, there was a white wall here which was glitching through. So what I will just do is I will take some base blocks, color them white, and I will copy and paste those here instead, and that should fix some of the glitching. Okay, what I was trying to say is I'm going to leave this episode. I'm going to leave the land as it is now. So I made all these supports under the RMC. It was quite a lot of work. Especially I'm proud of these inversions. I quite like the way these look now. And this stall, it also worked out quite well. Of course, I had to change the coaster into a flying coaster for that, but I think it's definitely worth doing. By the way, thanks for Sarah Thustra for showing me this trick. That was really clever. And of course, after that, after making the supports, I did all this landscaping here. Of course, this is very rough landscaping. I plan to make it a lot higher here, but at least this will allow me to expand in all directions. Now, I still plan to add lots of trees around here, but first, of course, I still need to finish some of these buildings and do some more of this landscaping. I'll probably do a bit of it outside of the video, just so we don't get a lot of videos with just landscaping. That would just be boring to watch. Okay, I think for the end of this episode it will be nice to take a ride on this RMC. So that's what we'll be doing next. I hope you enjoyed watching me build, and I'll see you again in the next episode. See you later.